All right, Lemonheads, what's up? Welcome to season 2, episode 3 of the F1 or FU podcast. I'm your boy Fungus, and I'm joined today by a very special guest, Maite Cáceres. She's a Formula 4 driver. How are you, Maite?
Hi, how are you guys? Well, I want to thank Lemon City Live for the invitation. Really honored to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, great. When I came across your profile on Instagram, and I saw that you were in Miami, so I thought, it's a great opportunity to interview somebody who's in that world, who is, a professional driver in Miami with the race coming up. Somebody who can give us a little bit of insight, right? A little bit of expert knowledge here. So, Maite, tell me first, before we get into all of that, before we get into the race and everything, tell me a little bit about yourself, about your story, how you got to the place where you are now.
Well, my story is a little not common in the world of motorsports because, my father is a rally driver. My brother, he races he racing Formula BMW. He was a champion back in those days. Tried Formula 3000, then jumping to a test with Minardi for F1 team in 2005. That he did really, really good, but it was one moment when Minardi entered in bankrupt and then Toro Rosso bought the team. And yeah, I always have been surrounded by motorsports life, fuel.
Yeah.
This in my house, F1 weekends, and yeah, I was loving the sports. I really love cars. And when I was like 7 years old, I told my parents, like, okay, I want to do what you guys do. I love sport. I love the cars. And they told me that I couldn't do it, that I was too young, that I needed to focus into school, that it was too dangerous. And yeah, all those things I tried to. And me being 7 years old, I didn't was like stubborn, like to say like, why not, and let me try. Or I was like, okay, try next year. Maybe I'm 8 years old, better. And yeah, I didn't have a chance. They put me into tennis. I did handball, hockey, every sport that you can imagine. I even tried singing. Like, they put me into singing lessons. I don't sing, but I'll give you that. And yeah, when I was like 12, 13, 14, I was still asking them and asking each year, and I tried to bring them good grades because it was one of the things my parents did look at it. So I was like, okay, see this.
Yeah.
And they knew, like, I was like super stubborn and telling them like, this is because I want to race one day. It's not like just that. It's just good grades. It's because I want one purpose. And I think my parents, in one way, they wanted to see that this is a really tough sport, that you need to work really hard. You need to make sacrifices in your life. That they wanted me to show that I could like be capable of doing that. But they still was like, no, Maite, no, racing, no, until like I was 17 years old, and told them like why my brother can do it and I cannot. And that was like the sentence that put like my world upside down, because my parents looked at each other and it was like, okay, maybe she really, really wants it, so let's give her a chance.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and that is, yes, and I started there with 17 years old, did 2 years in karting. Then I jumped quickly into F4 US Championship in 2022. And then I did the last year for F1 Academy. And I know it was a big jump for me to go, like my second years in Formula, to jump into F1 Academy in Europe with really high level of competitors. But yeah, it was my only chance to keep on the sports. And now we are racing in, again, the Formula 4 US Championship, as well as Formula FARA with International Motorsports.
That's amazing. I mean, so you mentioned you come from a family of drivers, right? So I'm sure you knew where to go. Your family knew where to go to get these opportunities, right? So how was it all planned out for you? Once your parents finally decided that they were going to let you, what was that process like? Okay, this is what you have to do. this is training, whatever. Explain that process.
Yeah, at the beginning, like they asked me like how you want to do it, like this is a hobby or you really want to start something professional. And I knew, and I told them that because I didn't want to scare them, like to not give me the chance. I was like, no, I just want to try a karting, I just want to do some laps. And after that I did my first laps and I was like, oh my god, this is where I belong, this is where I need to go, because it was immediately like this, and I knew my work was like done. And I
Yeah.
told them that okay, I got out of the cart after my first session, and I overheard other karting drivers that they were talking about that there was a race coming up in 2 weeks, and I was like, I mean, like I want to race. And I told my father like, hey, how I want to race. There's a race coming up, and then and like, Maite, you need training. Yeah, I was like, what? My first lap in the karting, like you need some sessions. And I went to. Uh, we're here.
Well, I think you were frozen a little bit. Are you there?
Are we back? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
And yes, and as soon as I talked to my father, and he told me like, okay, if you do this lap time, you're going to race. And he wasn't expecting me to do the reference from that race to like to have a from the track.
yeah.
And I did that on the second session, and he was like, oh, okay,
All
she
right.
really wants it. So
Yeah.
the process was first to establish like a point where to start, where we are, and what we wanted to go. Like that was the process first. Do some races, get some experience. But my father wanted me to jump right into Formula cars quickly. I did just 1 year and a half of karting because he wanted me to like. He asked me what is my goal, and I was like Formula One. Formula One. I don't care. Formula One, and I think I was a little dreaming because didn't know much about like the ladder and how much budget, but my father, yes, he knows everything, and we tried to
Yeah.
prepare and got lucky, got good results, a podium in the F4 in Uruguay, then jumping to a W series test, driver selection test. So yeah, it was a little bit of what we have, because also sponsors was really tough to get into. When I was in the Formula 4 US Championship, I barely had any test. I couldn't break any part of the cars as well. When I was in the F1 Academy, I couldn't test in any track. So yeah, that was a little unfortunate. And I now without testing, you it's difficult to make like to good results and everything. But we got some good results, and yeah, now we are on the ladder, let's say.
All right. So yeah, so now you're part of international motorsport, right? What is that? What does that entail? What do you do? What do you race? Are you part of a team? What's that position like for you?
Well, international motorsport is my team that I'm racing in those championships that I mentioned. And yeah, I race for them. Currently we have been, well, they were the first team that I raced in karting, so we have like a really good relationships. It's almost family. So yeah, my days are not only developing as a driver, getting into the gym, some sim work, but I like to be with them, work, try to learn more about the cars because they have other championships that they are running. So I go to the races and try to learn as much as I can.
That's awesome. So you mentioned you started as you were 17. Right now, I think you're 21 years old, right?
Yes.
So you're still relatively young in the sport, even though most people start when they're kids, basically. So how's it been playing catch up, and how do you look at your competition when you know that they've been doing it maybe a little longer than you?
Yeah, it's tough because you gave like 10 years in advantage.
Hmm.
Those 10 years, even if you don't race that much, is there are more races than me. There are more karting, more experience, like in every form that you can ever imagine. More laps, more hours. This is all dedication and put the effort. So yeah, of course it's tough, and you came up with the people, but as I told you, my team was like, okay, I cannot do this. Like I cannot get the time pass. Like go to
Hmm.
the back and say, okay, let's start again. No. So what can I do forward? Like what can I do? So it's work harder. Fernando
Yeah.
Alonso, I met him in 2019, and he
Hmm.
was one of the people that uh, give me like this sentence, like, was, if
Hmm.
you want to do it, just work hard. For everyone
Hmm.
it's difficult, so you need to outstand yourself. And I think that was when I said, okay, I cannot do anything about the age, but I can do something like to close the gap between
Yeah.
that is like put some more hours, more
Hmm.
effort, and try to think. I always put myself in a little bit of like try to compare us to them, as I
Hmm.
if I had the same amount of track time and hours and experience, that I don't. But I think that it was good for me to getting better myself. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm too hard, but others it works to get the best out of me.
No, I completely understand that. You have like that Michael Jordan mentality, right? Or like Kobe Bryant, where you just have to work harder than everybody else, kind of thing. So yeah,
Yes,
that's understandable. But how does when you beat these guys or these people that have been doing it longer than you, how does that feel?
that feels awesome.
Yeah.
Or even get the results. And my first times in a track, last couple of weeks I was racing in Nola Motorsports Park,
Hmm.
and I came to the category that I knew the car. Of course, I have good amounts of time in them, but I didn't know the competition, and the teams were really good. And then
Mm.
I haven't been on that track in ages. It was my first track, like when I was racing in Formula. So obviously I didn't have like any almost any experience. And I came to that weekend like, okay, the best out of it, expecting like maybe some couple, and then I found my almost got it. So yeah, really happy of how the improvement.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What's your favorite track that you've raced on so far? Maite, did we lose you? Can you hear me?
I think I lost you.
You lost me. Are we back now? You there?
No, now
No.
yes, I
Not, okay. Perfect. Perfect. All right. No problem. I asked you what's your favorite track that you've raced on so far?
uh, you mean my favorite? Sorry, I lost you a little bit. My
Mhm.
favorite track that I raced.
Yes.
Um, it's a tough question because I have Road America is one of my favorite tracks that I remember I
Mm.
raced on. But now that I race in Europe, there are some really good tracks that I try, like Sandboard, Monza.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, Monza.
Sometimes
That's
I put
awesome.
like Monza in my mind. Yes,
Uh-huh.
and it's like awesome, and the how you feel the it's like the temple of speed. It's literally you feel that you feel the
Yeah.
history of that.
Mhm.
But otherwise, like sandboard, people don't talk about it, but driving it is so fast and so cool to go into
Mhm.
that banking. And it's
Where's
really
that?
fast. It's in Netherlands.
Okay. Okay. That's the Netherlands GP.
Yes, and it's
Ah.
super cool track and Formula One race there. So myself imagine like how a for of F1
Hmm.
car goes into that, it amazes
Oh,
me. So now I have like, okay, I need to go back to Road America to see how is my standard. But yeah, definitely, if I had to choose one, Road America, yeah, has my car that I raced of. Then
yeah.
I have other favorite tracks that I haven't raced, but I love it.
Are there any that you know you're gonna be racing soon you haven't done yet that you're looking forward to?
No, no, there is not.
No.
No, no, no.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
You never
So
know. You never know. I'm not
yeah,
going to say no like that, but
yeah.
yeah.
Hopefully you get to race one of those tracks that you're looking forward to that you like so much that you haven't done yet.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the race coming up this weekend in Miami, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I'm sure you follow Formula One, right? You were a fan before. I'm sure you don't stop being a fan just because you start doing it, right? So who were you a fan of growing up?
Growing up,
Hmm.
like the moment that I recall them the most is 2005, 2006, 2007.
Hmm.
Fernando Alonso fan, of course. That
Yeah.
Renault years. Then he changed into Ferrari. So
Mhm.
yeah, I was like super tuned to him.
Nice, nice. So what about now? You still supporting Fernando Alonso? Yeah, you're with Aston Martin.
Yes. No, I usually don't go like with a team. It's
Hmm.
usually that I like
The driver.
drivers. Yes,
Yeah,
and it's not like sometimes I'm a fan. Like with Fernando Alonso, I can say I'm
hmm,
a fan. Like
yeah.
I cannot be biased. But when talking about other drivers, I really like to see like they have like a specific style or something that I like of them that they do that
Hmm.
I follow. Like Norris, Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton has like their own parts in the race weekend that they are more strong that I love to follow.
So like people like myself, I didn't grow up watching Formula One. When the Netflix documentary came out, that's when I was like, oh, let me check it out, and I fell in love with it. And I'm sure that's the same. The same is true for a lot of people in the United States. So people like me are still a novice, right? We still don't really know much about the different styles of racing, things like that. So you mentioned you look at different drivers and their styles. What are some of the styles, or like tell me a little bit about some of the drivers and things that they do that you like that are different from the rest of them?
Yes. For
Mhm.
example, it depends on the car that they're driving. Like,
Yeah, okay.
so they have to change their style by the car they have. It's not that
Hmm.
I can look at the style of driving, but I
Yeah.
can see like the mentality of or where they're stronger. Not it's like I see the
Mhm.
mentality because it's not like I'm with them, but you
Yeah.
see how they manage the weekend depending on the car they have, because you see on practice that, oh, okay, maybe the McLaren is struggling on this track, but oh, the Ferrari are stronger on this one and maybe had a chance more than Aston Martin or Mercedes or McLaren.
Yeah.
So you try to see where they can maximize. Usually, like Ferrari are super good in qualifying, and then in race they are not so much. So you can see how drivers like Sainz or Leclerc struggle sometimes with tires, and they try to manage it in a way that you see they change their driving style, like to minimize the struggle that they
Hmm.
have. So those are ways like in which drivers like we look at and
Yeah.
see what they're doing, because Formula One is not like you push all the way to the race. You need to have a tire management. You are talking with the
Hmm.
engineer. Maybe the setup is not like you want to do, and you have like some other struggles. If it rains, it
Hmm.
changes a lot. So you see the style of driving on which line, because drivers need to change the line
Hmm.
to go faster and have more grip. So if
Okay.
it rains, you look like, okay, so he's trying this and the other one is trying this. And I love to see Max Verstappen on the race. He's super good at it. and
Yeah.
also the experience of Fernando in the race is astronomical. Like even if he doesn't have a good car, he has some really great moves.
So, all right, now that's a topic that I'm super interested in. As like you mentioned, looking at Max Verstappen, he's really good. But to somebody like me, I'm looking at him like, yeah, his car is just faster than everybody else's car. Like, if you put another driver in that car, maybe he'll do the same. Why is that wrong?
I don't
Why
say
am I
that's
wrong?
wrong. I don't say that's
No, you
wrong.
think? Okay.
I maybe
Mm,
they could. You have to try it. You need to put
mm-hmm.
another driver in that. You cannot speak by itself like, okay, you put another driver and he will drive as fast, because
Yeah.
that car, as Albon tried it and Gasly also tried and said, is super well adjusted to Max driving, and Max driving is
Mm,
super hard because he likes an oversteer car that rotates a lot, and
mm,
not all drivers are comfortable with that. Is and he goes into the limit like nobody does. So if other Formula One drivers, really good drivers like Gasly and Albon, got into those cars, and if they struggle a little bit, they're for sure one
mm,
of the. It's not like Max is has a good car. You need to drive that
yeah.
car and be in the limit of that car, because he's not like going to the supermarket driving. No,
Yeah.
he goes into the limit, and
Yeah.
it's difficult to maintain on the highest level like that,
Mhm.
because he has the pressure as anyone is.
Yeah.
You need to deliver. You need to not make any mistake. He couldn't make mistakes, so I think I don't know. Maybe the other driver gets in the car and does a fastest lap and goes well. But are they able to maintain the dominance of like that?
That's it. Okay. I get you. All right. So Max Verstappen, he's won the last two Miami GPs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's gonna win it again? It looks like it,
Yeah.
and to me,
Yes.
yeah,
The car is good, also, like you said,
yeah,
and they didn't change. Like they are still up, and
mhm,
yeah, there's not much to say. Hopefully not. Like
mhm.
hopefully we can see like good fighting. At least if he
Yeah,
wins, we want some fighting on the top. If not, the midfield is super attractive to watch also.
yes. That's always the most interesting part of the race because Max just he runs away. If he passes you on the first lap, and if he's not pole, that's it. He's gone. They
Mhm.
don't even. I don't think they even show him the rest of the race on TV. They just focus. They just focus on the mid table guys. But how about the track? Have you driven on the Miami track at all?
No, I did some coaching with my coach, like watching the F1 track. Like I just watch it,
Okay.
and it's really technical. So we got
Yeah.
some corners in which he teaches me like some style of driving, because it's there's good corners to learn from.
Mhm.
It's also a straight circuit. It's not like full. It's not something that is like there. A track that
Yeah.
is there, and the cars pass around, so it's not the same. They paint it every year, so
Mhm.
that has a conditioning in the setup of the car on
Mhm.
where is the racing line.
Mm. And I imagine, if they keep the track the same every year, you kind of get used to where little different spots are and things like that. But that's not true for Miami GP. It's the sites are different every year. So
Yeah, but the reference they usually are like
yeah,
meters something. Yes,
okay,
for sure. I don't know by certain, but they have for sure.
that's interesting. That's interesting. All right, so who we said we think Max is gonna win, but who do you have falling in line? I think this from a constructor's standpoint, I think it's a little more competitive this year than it was last year, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
I don't know. I need to see the practice. I already know, of course, McLaren is going to be strong.
Mhm.
Um, I hopefully Fernando.
Yeah.
I can also see him on the podium. But yeah, it's year by year. It's difficult change, and I think Miami is like one of different tracks from what they have been racing. So it's difficult to predict how the cars are going to manage because some cars are better on with long straights, some are with
Mm.
corners, and and this has a little bit of everything. So I think more like McLaren, well, obviously Red Bull is going to be up there.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about Ferrari? I think Ferrari is the one that's giving Red Bull the biggest run for their money. Do you see
Hmm.
any of those guys maybe upsetting any of the
Absolutely,
Ferraris? Yeah.
absolutely. I always count Ferrari on that. They have been top three teams like from a lot of years. So yeah, of course they have a good run, but you never know. I think the last year they did really good in Miami, um, but I want to see the practice. On practice one
Yeah.
you can tell a lot of things.
All right, and I know they're doing the sprint qualifying this season, right? What
Yes.
have you seen that in person? What kind of dynamic does that add to a race weekend?
No, I haven't seen. I haven't been
Mhm.
on a race weekend when if they have sprints, and
Okay.
I just on the races. But I think it's a drivers don't like it, but I think it's
Mhm.
something extra. Something extra to
Yeah,
watch on this weekend as a Formula One fan.
that's true. Why is it that they don't like it though? What is it about it?
Um, I think they seem like a normal race, them putting to race the cars. I think they spoke something about giving an idea of reverse grid. I think that would be awesome to see.
Plus, what reverse grid means
It
and how that would
means
work.
it means you have like a qualifying or fastest lap or everything, and you put like the grid upside down, so the
Hmm.
first one goes last and they start last, and
All
the
right,
slower
and
one goes first.
but that's for the sprint or for the actual race.
No, for the sprint.
Okay, so how would that affect the actual race if they were to do that?
This is sprint
Hmm.
qualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about sprint races when there was.
Hmm. Okay, so the sprint race they don't actually affect the actual race in,
No,
as far as positioning.
no, no,
Okay, it's just
because
extra
you have
points.
qualifying, but you have qualifying after
Hmm.
the sprint.
Okay, I was
So
confused. I thought it was just an extra step.
no, no,
You
no, no.
know? Okay, I get you. I get you. All right, that's interesting, and that's something that I think a lot of people have spoken about because I've heard other people talking about that reverse grid style of racing, which it would make things not so like if you get pole position, if Max gets pole position, it's a foregone conclusion that he's gonna win unless he makes a mistake where he crashes or something like that. I think that adds more competitiveness to the race. But do you think drivers are open to something like that or no?
To like the reverse
To
grid,
the
you said?
to the reverse grid, yeah.
Well, they say they told the idea. They
Oh
say
yeah,
that. Yeah, they say that idea, and I
mhm.
liked it, and I said like, okay, that's clever.
That is clever. That is clever. All right, so Edwin is watching here, and he wants to know where you will be watching the race on Sunday.
Hopefully on track.
On track. You said you're working the race, correct?
Yeah, we
Mhm.
are on that discussion, but if not, I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
be as a spectator.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, Maite, thank you so much for giving us a lot of insight on racing. We appreciate you. Hopefully, you can come back and join us for upcoming races. We try to do these shows after or before every one of these races. So we really appreciate you joining us. Can you tell everybody where they can follow you on your social media, things like that?
Yes, of course. First of all, I want to thank all Lemon City Live for the invitation. Really a pleasure. I love talking about Formula One racing. So even if you have other plans, you can follow me on at Maite Cáceres, like my my name, last name with a double S at the end. That is my Instagram, and you also have Twitter. And I'm going to put all the details of my next races there. So if you want to watch, also they are streamed live. So yeah, thank you all for listening.
All right, guys. So that's at Maite Cáceres with a double S at the end for her Instagram. All right, and just for Twitter, it's just one S.
No, the both
Is that
the
right?
same.
Oh, both of them are the same. Okay, perfect. Both of them at Maite Cáceres with two S's at the end. Maite, thank you so much for joining us. We had a great time talking with you. It was very insightful, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully, yes. Thank you so much, guys. See you.
No problem. Have a good one.
Bye.